information to help you run your business better and improve your marketing campaigns. My name is Hank Hoffmeyer, and thank you for joining me on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. Thank you for joining us today on Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. I have Chuck Hester with me. Now, Chuck Hester has a lot of experience with LinkedIn. He is a senior integrated Marcom executive, content marketer, keynote speaker, LinkedIn workshop leader, and voiceover talent. I've known Chuck for about 7 years. He was actually at iContact when I started, and he was here for a few months. And then he left, and I stayed. But lately, maybe about 6 months ago or so, we've reinvigorated our relationship and started talking and meeting in person more and trying to help each other elevate our networks, elevate our game, and provide value back to the people we speak with. There was no doubt in my mind that I should have Chuck on the podcast today because we want to provide value to you in reference to using LinkedIn. So Chuck, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then what we'll do is talk about LinkedIn a little bit.
Sounds good. Thanks, Hank, and I appreciate you having me on. You kind of covered it basically, but I've been doing marketing, public relations, branding for close to 30 years now. My favorite stint was 4.5 plus years at iContact and building you guys up from 2.7 to the exit. And now you're working with Cision and Vocus, and that was really cool. So, over the last 11 plus years, I've really kind of built my LinkedIn practice, and I work specifically with C executives, VPs, business owners, VCs on how to use LinkedIn for business, for branding, for subject matter expertise, and now starting to do in-person one-on 10 workshops as well. So that's who I am.
Chuck is the go-to guy in central North Carolina, I would say, or in the Raleigh area when it comes to LinkedIn. I've been to a couple networking events where I mention his name, and if they're involved in LinkedIn, they know of Chuck. He is great when it comes to finding unique ways and also just proving your best practices on LinkedIn to grow your network and grow your sales. What I wanted to talk about today, Chuck, was how and why it's important for smaller business owners to leverage LinkedIn. Maybe somebody has a presence there, or maybe even a business page, but they're not taking advantage. What do you think are the top 3 things business owners need to do on LinkedIn?
Well, one of the things I want to mention too is that you can check out my articles on LinkedIn because I blog almost exclusively over there. I got 40 plus articles, and actually, ironically, one of them is the top 3 things you need to do on LinkedIn every day. So you can take a look at that, but I'll give them to you. Basically, what you want to do is you want to develop a profile that is SEO rich, search engine optimization rich. There's 4 areas that I work with my folks in their workshops and on one-on-one training on how to do that. Everything from the headline to the summary to your job experience, all those really need to have SEO keywords in them. A lot of people don't know that LinkedIn has its own search algorithm within the platform, not just Google oriented. So it's really important to be able to do that. So you really need to make sure that that headline is something that folks are going to want to look at, that it's arresting. You get a chance to actually review what that person's involved with. And, there's several different rules that they're changing as of the last January's user interface change. So it's something that's really important to take a look at. That's number 1. The second thing is really, I call it the 3 C's. It's connection, it's community, and it's I don't know what the third C is. Goodness gracious. I'll get back to that. I'll figure out what that was. But basically, we'll talk about connection. You really want to make sure you're connecting with people. Before we jumped on this podcast, I got a chance to take a look. You and I have talked about this on a regular basis. As a matter of fact, you sent me a screenshot about one of them. But I get generic invitations on a regular basis, and I'm sitting on my inbox, and this is somebody who is inbox zero oriented. I've got 20 invitations that 19 of those 20 are generic invitations. So you really need to personalize those invitations, personalize the community that you're going to be involved with. That's the second aspect. And of course, the third one, I apologize, Joe Paluzzi, the third one is content. Really, it's connection, community, and content. And you really need to be involved with LinkedIn in such a way that you're putting status updates on a regular basis. The cool thing about LinkedIn now, as you know, Hank, is you're able to actually do video updates, which is really nice. Your last Sunday's one was awesome as far as paying it forward and getting some information out there. But I do a LinkedIn tip on a regular basis, Monday through Friday, and I use Status Bar to do that. And I use hashtag #LITip. So if you want to go look at that in the search engine, you can find those there. But you really need to connect with the community. And of course, good content marketing practices. You want to share more information than you actually promote yourself. So there's the 411 rule in that regard. So I actively involved with that.
Right. So I would follow up to what you're saying. Number one, if you're going to reach out to Chuck and try to connect with him, personalize your invite and say, I met you by listening to Hank's Marketing and Business Tips. It'll allow Chuck to know who you are and why you're trying to connect with him. Maybe even leave a note as to, I think you can really help me with my LinkedIn presence. Or, hey, Chuck, I don't know if you've heard about this great tip about LinkedIn, but I'd love to talk to you about it, maybe provide him value. And that leads me to the second thing I'd like to discuss really quickly is don't just post content on LinkedIn to post it. Make sure it's of value because it's always about your audience and not you. It is good every now and then to celebrate wins. If you had a grand opening of a store or you met a certain goal, yes, you want to put that out there and let people know you're successful in what you're doing. But most importantly, you want to provide value so that people consume that, learn something, and then can either tell other people about it or they feel like they're getting that value and want to have a trusted relationship with you. We do not want LinkedIn to be like Facebook where you're saying this is what I had for dinner or lunch, or I'm meeting up with my sister today. God, I hope we don't get into an argument or something like that. You want to keep it business, you want to keep it of value, and remember it's about your audience, right?
Yeah, so you really don't want to see my stuffed flank steak on LinkedIn? I mean, that's you can see it on
not
Facebook.
Unless you're a 5-star restaurant, and that's what I'm looking for that night because I'm taking some folks out on for a business meal, maybe.
Absolutely. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, Hank. Absolutely.
Right. One thing I know you for is you do these LinkedIn workshops. Did you want to talk about them a little bit?
Yeah, I've been doing LinkedIn one-on-one training and keynote speaking, major workshops around the country in regards to LinkedIn, how to use it for business. And I kept getting folks asking me if I would do local workshops. So I started to do a local workshop, and this is a 10-on-1, 10 people only workshop that occurs about once a month. We're scheduling them once a month. As a matter of fact, as we're recording this, I've got one tomorrow, but I've got one coming up in mid-November as well, primarily at the Frontier and RTP. I get a chance to spend some time with me, but not only me, I like to use the term peer consulting. So you're going to work with 8 to 10 other peers, basically C-level VPs, owners, on how to use LinkedIn. And we do a lot of work together where your peers will actually look at your profile and say, hey, you know what, I wouldn't necessarily connect with you because I don't understand this or whatever. So you're doing actual interactive work with your peers right then and there.
Right. I think it's good information to put in your little bio exactly what you do and how you can help organizations or whoever your target market is. It's almost like me hearing somebody critique a website and somebody going there and they're not really spelling out what they do or using terms that are there in their industry buzzwords, but maybe their consumer doesn't know about them. If you say you sell construction materials, but really the only thing you sell is windows, you're going to confuse people by using construction materials, because if I need lumber or insulation, you're not my go-to business, right? Always use the keywords, phrases, and sentences that are going to make sense to who you want to read them.
Exactly.
And Chuck is always great at paying it forward. He has a few different meetups, and he's willing to meet and talk with you over lunch as well as on Zoom or Skype as well. He does a great job of that. And if you ever meet him at a networking event, he's going to say, how can I help you? And that's something that you need to be doing when you're out and about networking, trying to get business, is ask people how you can help them, not how they can help you or buy from you. Because remember, nobody wants to be sold, but they want to buy. I think we can go on and on about LinkedIn, but I like to keep these a little bit short. Any parting thoughts from you, Chuck?
Just if you're interested in the LinkedIn workshops, what I always like to say on my keynote speech is you can more than willing to connect with me on LinkedIn. That's great. And as you said, do a personalized invite and just basically say, hey, you know what? You and Hank rocked, and we enjoyed getting a chance to see what was going on. And I'd like to connect. I'd be glad to connect with you then. And if you are interested in the workshops, then message me about that as well. There will be going on a monthly basis, so we get a chance to once a month jump into that. We're building a community for LinkedIn executives on how to use LinkedIn, and we've got a mastermind group that's a closed group based on folks who are in their workshops, so you get a chance to be involved with that as well.
And I know most of these workshops are in person. What if somebody was in San Francisco and they wanted to learn more about LinkedIn? How would you be able to help them?
I do my one-on-one training, which is basically 2 sessions over Skype, and use it that way. So that way we can screen share, and that's more intensive, but it is customized to the person as to what they're trying to do. As a matter of fact, I've got a client this week in Dallas that I'm working with, and I've worked with folks in Australia and New Jersey. It just really doesn't matter where they are. As long as we can screen share, I can help them.
What's the best way for people to find and connect with you?
LinkedIn. That's the number one way, but I'm Chuck Hester all over the web. So check at chuckhester.com. If you want to send me a quick note there as well, that's great. Just make sure, obviously, you personalize that invite, and we'll take it from there.
Great. I appreciate you being on and sharing your words of wisdom for LinkedIn. If you want to listen to previous episodes of Hank's Marketing and Business Tips, they can be viewed at hankhoffmeyer.com/Alexa. I am on Google Play, iTunes, on my website. I just submitted to TuneIn. That should be there soon. And what you'll be able to do is just go home and listen to Hank's Marketing and Business Tips on TuneIn if you have an Amazon Echo, and it'll automatically play. But you can also subscribe on the Amazon Echo. And I'm looking for any and other ways to put that out there and provide value to everyone. But this was a great episode, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you.